Hey, welcome to this tutorial. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you should know that this channel is basically based on creating tutorials for KeyShot, but in Spanish. Here's a new experiment. Y si eres alguien que pues, bueno, ya conoce el canal, sabes que generalmente es en español, but here's a new experiment. And if you're new, you can check out all the tutorials. Let me tell you that they are in Spanish, but they're pretty easy to follow because the interface is all in English, so you can follow them. I would believe that it will be very easy. And with that said, let's jump into the tutorial. So this tutorial will be focused on just the PCB material without the components, but if you want to get or know how this entire image is done, you can find on my Gumroad page. I will put the link in the description of the video, and you can find this entire KeyShot package file, so you can buy it, download it, and look at every single material, lighting, and all that stuff. Otherwise, we're gonna use the board for this video. I will also put the link in the description so you can download these files and work with this tutorial. Big thanks to Poncho, which is my friend. He's a mechatronic engineer, so he designed this PCB for another project, but he was kind enough to let us work with these files. And it is important to note that even though we're gonna work with these files in this tutorial, if you wanna render your own PCB or another PCB, it will be I will recommend to you that you can have the PCB design files. So this all these lines, all these paths, and all that stuff, it's really coherent to the design. Otherwise, you can fake it on Photoshop and draw these lines and take some references. But this tutorial will be based on having those PCB design files and how to use them on KeyShot and get this visualization of that PCB. So let's get started with the PCB board. Okay, so once you downloaded the files from my Gumroad page, I put the link in the description. We're gonna import the step file into KeyShot, and this is pretty important. Before anything else, we're gonna duplicate this board, and it's important to do this, and you will see after why this is important. But we're gonna select it. Okay, so remember, just click on scene, click the object, right click, duplicate selection. Okay, so you can see on the scene tab that we have already two separate bodies. So we're gonna hide one of them, just clicking into that eye icon. Okay, so something important about PCBs is that they are kind of like an onion. They have a base material, and then we have several layers that conform the overall PCB. So we have the base material, then the copper, then solder mask, silkscreen, all that stuff. So we're gonna work. Okay, the approach will be like working with layers, but we're gonna make it a little bit easier to make this material. So we're gonna double click on the object to get into the material tab and the material properties. We're gonna change the name of this material. I'm gonna put PCB base, and we're gonna use a translucent type material. For now, we're gonna put the texture into a green, and if you don't have select the green, you can go and just pick whichever green you want and click OK. So this is gonna be our base material. So after this, we're gonna use the files that are also in the folder that you downloaded, so we can start building the layers of the PCB. In the folder that you downloaded, you're gonna see that we have several files. For this, we're gonna use the top layer. First of all, we're gonna double click into the object just to double check that we're in this material, and we're gonna go to labels, and the easiest way to put a label is just drag them from the folder into this window, and it will automatically put it into the scene. I personally prefer to work right onto the material graph. If you're new to this, don't worry, you're gonna get used to. I have other tutorials that talk about this, but the thing here is that, as you can see, I'm gonna just align this. Okay, so we have a material which is basically translucent. The base is a translucent type, but we have already a label which is a plastic type with a texture map, which is the one that I added. So I'm gonna click C on the keyboard so I can isolate the image. And first of all, I need to fit the image right in the position and the size. So I'm gonna click Move Texture, and as we can see, this is larger than the PCB board. So we can use scene units to scale it down, scale it up, but an easiest way to do this is just using this window, these options, and we're gonna try, and we're gonna use Fit to and see which plane it's the right to scale it, so to project that image. So as we can see, X is not, Y is vertical, so this is gonna be C, and we can see that it's not in the right orientation, so we're gonna rotate it so we can match the right orientation. Okay, so now we have a nice orientation, but as we can see, the scale could be a little bit off. We're gonna try to match these holes from the file to the PCB board. So if I move it to the right in order to match this with this, you can see that we have now an offset from this side. So I'm gonna make it a little bit larger, right into the size and mapping properties, and put 66 millimeters, and that should work. I'm gonna just align it better to the center of those holes, and I think I got it right here. So I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna click C again, so to exit the isolation mode, and now we have this layer put on the top and aligned to the elements that make this PCB board. What is happening right now is that we have the translucent base material, and now we have an image which is a plastic material on top of that translucent material. So the thing here is that I want a green PCB. So how can I modify the color of that image without, I don't know, going through Photoshop and all that stuff? So for that, I'm gonna click in this connection. I'm gonna to select it, then I'm gonna do right click, utilities, and I'm gonna use a color adjust node, and I'm gonna double click on this new node so I can get into the properties, and I'm gonna use the colorize option so I can go into a green, and everything that was white now it's green. I can switch to another color, but for now we're gonna put some green. I'm gonna click OK, and now we have like a mask on top of the translucent material, but now we need some bump. So I'm gonna use the same file to add bump to this layer. So I'm just gonna click here and put it into bump node so I can get this this new bump. I'm gonna double click into the texture, go into the properties, and bump height I'm gonna put it into 0.5 millimeters. What we need now is the silkscreen, which is a layer that has all the letters, the design, the designators for the components and all that stuff, with actually make the PCB look much more interesting. So double click again to go into the material, labels, and browse in the folder and use the silkscreen file, drag it into this window, and as you can see again, so we have to adjust the orientation and the size of this image to the board. So I'm gonna go again to material graph. Now you can see this is the second label, which is whenever you create a new label, it will go in the top. It will go into the top of it. So the new label is the label number 1, which is a plastic material that has this silkscreen PSD file. So I'm gonna click C again to isolate this. We already know that we can use fit to this plane. We have to rotate it. Hold shift to lock the rotation into 15 degrees position. So this is 90 degrees rotation. I'm gonna click accept. And remember that we scale it to 66 millimeters. And click C again to exit. And for now, it looks like it is right in the position. Okay, so we're gonna also add some. No, I think that's it for this layer. Okay, so let's take a look to the bottom of the board, and we can see that we have this black color. This is not because of the material. This is because remember that we set the board on the ground of this scenario. So what we're actually seeing here is shadow. So we can rotate the board so we can look at all the sides. We can go to environment tab on disable ground shadows, and now we don't have that dark shadows right on the bottom of the board. But now we can see that the designators, the component designators, are also projected in the bottom face of the board, and this is not correct. So the way to correct this is double click on the board to go into the material labels tab, and the silkscreen label, we're gonna click it, we're gonna select it, and then we are gonna disable the two-sided option. So this is already fixed, but we are also having these lines from the top copper layer. So the way to fix that is also go to that label. But as we can see, we don't have that option here. We're gonna go right into the material graph, and then look for the image that the texture map that gives this information. Double click to it, and then also we can find here that this option is visible. So we're gonna disable two-sided, and now we have it corrected. But now we're gonna put the information of the top layer, the bottom layer in the board. So let's go again to the folder, choose the bottom layer file, drag it into the label window. We already know that we have a problem with orientation and size, so we're gonna click fit to, and we're gonna use this plane. We have to rotate it, so we're gonna rotate it. So we're gonna use those holes to match the rotation. I'm gonna hold shift key in order to constrain the movements into 15 degrees steps. So now we have a 90 degrees rotation. I'm gonna click accept, but there is a problem with the size, so I'm gonna go to size and mapping, scene units, and we already know it has to be 66. So I'm gonna put that value. I'm gonna move texture, and I'm gonna disable position, so translate mode is enabled, and I'm gonna move it so the holes matches the position. So I'm gonna click OK. I'm happy with the position. And now I'm gonna go in the material graph, because remember, again, the image is being projected to both sides. So let's fix that. I'm gonna align the nodes with this icon. So I'm gonna look for the bottom layer file. I'm gonna disable two-sided, but as you can see, it's projected on the top. So I'm gonna move it, rotate it, hold shift. I'm gonna click accept, and now we have it here. So it moved. So I'm gonna click again, move texture. I'm gonna disable position, so translate mode it's on. So I'm gonna move it, and I'm gonna click accept. And now remember that we are adding a new layer, a new image for that layer, which has a white value. What we did here is that we put a color value in an adjustment, so it has the same value. But we can do again the same stuff that we did, which was take this this image, add a color adjust, the colorize with a green tonality so it matches. But if we want to change the color to a blue PCB or a white or black PCB, we will have to adjust manually every single node. So what we can do in order to make it with just one change, we can add utilities, but sorry, a texture node, which is a color gradient. Click in it, and I'm gonna drag the black value. Okay, let's put this also in black, and I'm gonna drag this to the left. And I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna choose the green color. So as you can see right now, basically a gradient should be 2 tones, but we just want one. I'm gonna move this and put this right on top of it, so I just basically have one color. What I'm gonna do now is I will also use a color adjust node here in the bottom layer. I'm gonna click the connection, right click, utilities, color adjust. But instead of manually putting colorize and putting that green or whatever color we wanted, I'm gonna use the information from this color grading node, and I'm gonna use it to drive the value of that colorized parameter. So I'm gonna put it here. So if I change the color in the gradient and I put it red, you can see now it turned red. But what happened with the top layer? It's green. If we want a red PCB, what we're gonna do is also use this information from this node to drive the information from this colorize that is affecting the top layer. So I'm gonna drag it and connect it to colorize to that layer. So if I move it up, now you can see we have a red PCB, but we still have this green base in the color. What we're gonna do in order to make it to react to that to all that stuff, I'm gonna use again this information and connect this node into the texture node in the translucent material, which is the base material. So if I click it and put it here, now we have basically a red PCB. And now if I want to change the overall color of the PCB, I'm just gonna use the gradient node. I'm gonna click this color picker. Well, it's not the picker, but this color parameter. And I'm gonna change it. If I want to go back into green, now we have green. If I want a blue PCB, I have a blue PCB or a whatever color you want. But this node is driving all the information to the colorized parameters and basically the base translucent material, which is the overall general PCB material. So let's put this again into a green color, just for making it easier. And now what we have to do is add the soldering mask. Well, not the soldering mask, but the solder points where we were gonna have soldering material. So in order to achieve this and to make it with a real volume, we're gonna use the board that we duplicated right at the beginning of the tutorial. So I'm gonna go into Scene tab and I'm gonna hide the board that is already visible, and I'm gonna hide the other one. So we have now this board, which is a replicate from the first one, but we really need just the top face of it. So I'm gonna select it, clicking on it, and I'm gonna go to right click, split object surfaces, and I just want this top surface to be eligible. So once I already click on it and it's green selected, I'm gonna split that surface and then I'm gonna click apply. So as we can see that, okay, this is the original one. We have the other one that it's already split into two sides. Something here that happened. Is that okay? No. Okay, so I'm gonna hide the one that already has materials, and I'm gonna stick with the second one, the duplicate. So I don't really need anymore the side of the board and the bottom layers, the bottom surface. So I'm gonna delete this, right click, delete, and I'm gonna just keep the top layer. So unhide it. Okay, now. So yeah, this one is the one that I have to delete, the one that is not visible. So I have the top surface remaining. Now I'm gonna double click on it. I'm gonna go into the material tab. I'm gonna change the name. I'm gonna put solder surface, and I'm gonna change the type of material to a metal. Now I'm gonna go into the labels, and in the folder I'm gonna use the solder mask file, and I'm gonna drag it and I'm gonna put it in the label window. Now I have again to align the image. So I'm gonna use fit 2. I know that is the plane that I have to use. I'm gonna rotate it. So here the reference point is those 3 big stripes. I'm gonna face this direction. I'm gonna click accept. I remember it's in units 65, and for now we are okay. I'm gonna go to the properties of the material and change the color to gray. I'm gonna click OK. Now I'm gonna use this texture map in order to give KeyShot the instruction to make some little extrusions using displacement on that specific part of the surface. So what I'm gonna do is okay, click C to isolate it. I'm gonna use texture. So I don't want to be these extrusions or soldering points to be that regular. So I want some irregularities on it. So I'm gonna choose the spots texture. I'm gonna click C to isolate the texture and see it in the. Let me see what happened here. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me go again to material graph. Click C. We have some spots right there. I'm gonna increase the density maybe to 5. The distortion, I'm gonna put it here in 1. I'm gonna add more levels in 4. I think I'm gonna also add more distortion, maybe 2. I'm gonna increase the radius to 1. That's a lot, 0.4. Yeah, maybe something like that. And I'm gonna increase also the fall off. So I think I'm good for now. I'm gonna click C again to exit isolation mode. And now I'm gonna use, I'm going to go into utilities, color composite, and I need something to blend this information, which tells me where the extrusions are going to be made, which is the white color, but I want to make some mixing with this one to make it a little bit irregular. So I'm going to click C in color composite to see what is happening. I'm going to change blend mode to multiply, maybe screen. I think multiply works for me. Okay, I'm going to go again to spots, and I'm going to change the color to 40% in grayscale. I click OK. And the background, I'm going to use a 50%. Something like that. Okay. So then I'm going to use another color composite because I want this image to make like a mask, so I can just have the right spots where the extrusions are going to be made. So I'm going to use this base texture, and I'm going to put it into background. I'm gonna click C, and I'm gonna change this to let me no, okay, I think it has to be okay, yeah, into source alpha. I can remove the background and put it into source alpha. Yeah, because I want this to make that extrusions, and I'm gonna click now into utilities, sorry, geometry, displace, so I can execute a displacement node. I'm gonna connect it, but I want all the white areas are gonna be extruded the value that I set in the displacement node, and all the dark areas will be not extruded that much. So black areas will not be extruded. So in order to change that, because otherwise this white area will be extruded, I can select this node, this connection, right click on it, utilities, and color invert. So let's see what's happening. As you can see, the black area is the area that I don't want to be extruded, and so I'm gonna click the displacement and connect it into geometry, and now I can just remove that label. I can delete this plastic material, and I'm gonna double click in the displacement node. I'm gonna set the height, which will be like 1 millimeter, I think, and the triangle size lower to the displacement height, so I can get better resolution. So I will set it to 0.1, and I will execute the geometry node. And as we can see, now we have those specific areas extruded, and as we can see, they are not regular. They have some distortion that come from the spots node. But it's too high. I'm gonna set it into 0.1. So I'm gonna decrease this to 0.01. I'm gonna execute it again. And now we have these extrusions. I'm gonna go back to the scene tab. I'm gonna make the board visible, and as we can see, we have now those extrusions, but they are just at the same level. So I'm gonna click in the duplicated face that came from the board. I'm gonna move selection, and I'm gonna drag it down a little bit so it doesn't be at the same level. So here it is. We have now okay, let's just do something else in order to improve this material. Go to the solder surface, material graph, and let's add some roughness map in order to have a little bit more imperfections into that material. So let's go into textures. I'm gonna look for a metal one. Maybe this metal texture will work, and I'm gonna put it into the roughness of the metal. Let's see what is happening here. I think that is, I can make it a little bit bigger, make it, I don't know, 100 millimeters or so. Click C to exit. I'm gonna click into that connection, right click, utilities, color to number. I want it to be a little bit more reflective, so I'm gonna drag down the output value, and let's see what's happening. And well, just to make it a little bit more visible, I'm gonna put another environment so it's easier to understand what is happening. I'm gonna hold Alt and drag this one so you can see what is happening with our PCB board. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope that you get a more better understanding on how to create layers and labels and how to render a PCB material. Remember that you can just modify the values as you need. If you want more irregularities, if you want more height, you can just adjust the values that we saw in the video. And just remember to tag me in your renders. It will be nice to see them. I'm on Instagram as Project, and I hope to see you soon in another tutorial.